Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga. The story of X and Y, where previously, after discovering that her mother was kidnapped by Team Flare from Clemont, who was then also subsequently kidnapped by Team Flare, Y fell into a deep depression. At the same time, the person over the Pokemon storage system, Cassius, like many a storage person before him, was helping out our heroes, but because of Y's lack of attentiveness, the group was at odds about whether or not to trust him. But they boarded a helicopter that he thought would help them avoid being ambushed, only for them to be ambushed in the sky by Sky Trainer. Y was able to gather herself because Sky Trainering, no, that doesn't sound right, but I'm gonna go with it, is her passion. So she took to the skies in order to take them on, only to find out that it was her classmates from Vanillville Town at the Sky Trainer Academy, one of which, Yvette, was a bully who she was dealing with before the events in Vanillville Town went down, who really poked fun at Y's issues with her mother. But Y is able to overcome Yvette's taunting, now more determined to save her mother than anything else. During the course of the Sky battle, her fletchling evolves into Fletchinder, which is now actually viable for Sky Trainer battles, it's weird that certain Pokemon who have wings and can fly are not viable, but I guess because they have to have special abilities, only those with the special ability of like Levitate or something like that are able to actually be in Sky Trainer battles. So Fletchling wasn't what Fletchinder is, which that is a weird concept to me. It has wings and flies. Why no fight? Whatever, I didn't play X and Y, so that's going right above my head. But as Y takes on Yvette, X realizes that this isn't a normal circumstance. This might be the Aegislash once again controlling Yvette. So with the help of Shauna, X is able to track where the Aegislash is and uses a mega evolved Manectric in order to take it down, only for us to find out that it was under the control of Malva, who's taking more or less direct approach against the kid. Unfortunately, the helicopter has been damaged in the ensuing battle and goes down, with one of the propeller blades breaking off and hitting Y pretty hard, causing her to fall to the ground, only to be saved by her Froakie's Frubbles. I still love that word, Frubbles. But in the location, Y manages to overhear Celosia and Malva talking about moving Xerneas, with Malva handing back over Celosia's Aegislash. But Celosia detects Y listening in and goes in to strike at her with her Honed. But Froakie evolves into Frogadier, managing to get Y out of the way under the radar of Malva and Celosia. The only thing lost is a good chunk of Y's hair. Cassius manages to land the helicopter pretty successfully, although it does damage the surrounding area, which is a cycling and rock climbing track that Grant, the Silage gym leader, oversees, so Cassius gets a bit of an earful. And because of this, X and the others decide to leave Cassius behind in order to find Y. Meanwhile, Clemont has been imprisoned at Team Flare HQ and is coerced by Zerk's Jurassic to build a machine for him by holding Clemont's Heliolisk hostage. Jurassic wants him to do this as he's a little busy at the moment, as we see that Essentia does in fact work with Team Flare, as he is the one who works on her expansion suit. Meanwhile, Grace rallies the people of Vanillville Town to try and escape from their situation, revealing that the way she keeps getting out is thanks to a wild Clefpea that she managed to befriend. Y follows Celosia and Malva to where the Xerneas tree is, with Celosia heading back to the base in order to mass control the townspeople, just as they were about to escape in order to move Xerneas, while Y reunites with X and the others who managed to follow her thanks to a trail left by Frogadier's Frubbles. And so our heroes have decided to make sure The Team Flare doesn't get what they want, but are they strong enough to do that? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, it is Pokemon Adventures X and Y, Volume 4 / Volume 59, almost at 60. And we have a cover with X and his friends standing in the way of, I assume, Team Flare from getting to the Xerneas tree. Any evolution spoilers here? Nope, doesn't look like it. Yeah, let's jump in. Okay, picture of Mega Heracross. And yet still, despite everything, Frogadier is not listed as one of Y's Pokemon. And did you just spoil me that X gets a Gengar? Well, okay then. I just got spoiled on that. I don't see it in the cover. Oh, okay, I guess X gets a Gengar at some point. Well, at least I don't know how it happens. The ever-growing list of people that they've met. I can kind of understand why no other storyline did this, because it is way overcomplicated. The Mega Evolution successors, the gym leaders, Pokemon Storage System Group, the 5 Friends of Vanderbilt Town versus Team Flare and Team Flare Scientific Team. I mean, I think that's most of the people who we have to really deal with. The only ones who we just have more gym leaders. And honestly, the gym leaders you see now are the only ones I'm really aware of. Honestly, Grant, I'm not even that aware of. I am that in the dark of a lot of characters in X and Y. The only ones I'm primarily familiar with are Karina and Clemont, and that's because I saw them in the anime. Viola, I didn't even know that she and Alexa were related before I looked it up. And then Grant, I mean, I've seen him. I've mostly seen people clown on him because of his hairstyle, and that's about it. All the other gym leaders, nothing. I know there's one fairy-type gym leader who just has weird eyes, and that was something people noted. And that was it. I don't know about, what was it? Olympia and Wolford and the old man. I don't know. I'm gonna have to look those up when I get to them. Alright, episode 26. Tying Trevenant. Alright, we pick up with everyone finding Y in the forest. Trevor and Shauna calling out to Y as Y says, everybody. So Shauna says, why? What happened to your hair? With Y saying, huh? Oh, she actually feels it up and notices, she's only just noticing now. Didn't you feel a little bit of breeze and a lack of weight to your head? Y says, it must have gotten cut off back there. But that's not important now. Listen. And I love a girl who can lose all that hair and say that's not important. Then again, she's more concerned about her mom, probably. Oh, but there's a rumbling coming from the tree. Trevor says, for real? This tree is actually the horned Pokemon that tore Vanderbilt Town apart? As we see X on his Pokedex. He says, Xerneas. Tina says, they're going to mind control the townspeople they captured and make them move this tree to their hideout? Are you sure that's what you overheard Team Flare saying? Y says, there's no doubt about it. Plus, they said they're going to get the townspeople to carry something called an absorber to connect to some kind of ultimate weapon. Trevor says, an ultimate weapon? What could that be? Shauna shouts, isn't it obvious? Something really dangerous, a tool of mass destruction. Bingo! Tierno notes, a weapon so powerful, though they've added the word ultimate to it. Thank you for your contribution, Tierno. Shauna shouts, we can't let them use it. While Tierno questions, right, if we don't do something before it's too late, who knows what chaos they'll create? Well, Y tells them, will you two calm down? X perks up saying, that's right. There's no need to panic. If what Y heard is true, those laborers are coming down here to transport this tree, right? All we need to do then is to follow them until we locate their headquarters. Tierno says, I see. Shauna shouts, and that's when we'll launch our attack. Y questions, launch our attack? Right, she's not in the know of the plan. Trevor speaks up saying, we talked it over while you were gone, Y. We don't want to keep running anymore. It's about time we went on the offensive against them. Y turns to X saying, questioning, you agreed to that, X? X gives a nod. While Y says, I'm totally opposed to this plan. Don't you care about helping those mind control people right in front of you? X tells her, we're not saying we won't help them. We'll just find out where their hideout is first, and then we'll wait for the best opportunity to make our next move. Helping these people or attacking their headquarters comes after. Y turns to the others, saying, with all your talk about an attack, have you even considered the odds against you? Why is the voice of reason in this situation? Because, let's be honest, they have the numbers and they constantly have the element of surprise. I mean, it'd be another thing if they had allied with the gym leaders by this point, but shoot, even the gym leaders are kind of getting taken out at every turn and running. Tierno says, I hate to admit it, but we're relying on X for that. While Shauna questions, but X can defeat them, can he, Trevor? Trevor says, except the power of Mega Evolution with 2 Pokemon now, Kanga and Elect. While X says, push comes to shove, I'll use both of them to finish off the enemy. I mean, look, kid, it's great that you have so much confidence, but you don't know the full extent of everything that they can dish out. This feels utterly reckless. I mean, hey, you're protagonist, that's all well and good, but still. Y takes a moment and then says, okay, but don't forget, the mind control people are in danger before we find Team Flare's hideout. My priority is to save them, even if I have to do it all on my own. Ooh, an ultimatum. She brings out her Pokemon, Fletchy, Fletchline, Fletchinder, Croaky, Frogadier, and Vivi, Sylvalion. I'm counting on you. Skitty then alerts them to something. The kids whisper, they're here, hide, and they all go scattering. As kind of like the hobbits hiding from the Nazgul? It's been a hot minute since I've watched Lord of the Rings, but the kids are hiding on their trees and stuff, as Celosia, as well as Essentia, move in with the people of Vanderbilt town, all in worker uniforms, which hope you at least commanded the townspeople to change their clothes, or just put work clothes over their normal clothes, or else this is weird. But Celosia arrives with her hone edge in hand and Aegislash at her back. Celosia then radios in. Celosia speaking. We're going to begin transport of the tree. Jurassic says, Roger. Essentia, keep a lookout so that no one interferes with our operation. Essentia says, yes, sir. Jurassic then says, but are you sure this will work? Celosia says, do you doubt Lady Malva's plan? Jurassic doesn't respond. While Celosia tells him, don't worry. Prepare the absorber, okay, and await our arrival. She points with her hone edge, saying, begin the operation, as the mind-controlled townspeople go in with the devices, kind of like forklift devices. I don't really know what those are, but they're uprooting the tree. There's a rumbling sound, as Celosia says, huh? What's that? Oh, she sees something that Hone Edge is holding. Hone Edge hands it over. As Celosia looks at it, the clump of hair, saying, is that a ponytail? How did it get on you? But Grace spies it in her hand. And it's obvious that something is starting to turn in Grace's mind. Celosia says, Hone Edge must have cut someone's hair, but when? Celosia thinks back to when she struck out at the unseen figure she thought was there. She thinks to herself, I felt someone's presence near us back there. Someone must have been hiding behind that rock. I'm just also noting that Celosia also can feel presences. There's just some characters who can do it in this series. It happens enough that I can't question it too much. She thinks to herself, then there's a possibility that they overheard Lady Malva and me. Essentia might come in handy today then. Meanwhile, with the kids overlooking what's happening, Shauna questions, what's going on, Tierney? Tierno, trying to get a good look, says, I can't see clearly through that bright light, but like Wise said, I think they're trying to lift up a huge tree. Oh, Shauna questions, what? Tierno says, that man looks like my teacher from the dance school. Yeah, I'm sure of it. That's my dance teacher. Shauna says, no way. While Trevor says, just as I thought. Spencer from the second-hand bookstore and Morgan the firefighter, the bakers from the bakery, and that's Miss Gracia from the grocery store. They're all from Vanderbilt town. They're all people from our town. On the TV news, they said a lot of people from Vanderbilt town were missing. I saw the report at the inn in Alcocord's town, and then he remembers Cassius's words. School was blown away during the incident, and I heard there were still a bunch of students missing. Trevor says Cassius said the same thing. The blast created by the clash between the two legendary Pokemon blew away Shauna's Furfru, Fennekin, and Pokedex. But the people in town were also blown away and caught by Team Flare. It looks like that would explain yesterday's battle and why the Sky Trainer trainees attacked us. Tierno then realizes something and looks to the tree where Y is hiding with her Pokemon. And she says, but he thinks to himself, in that case, there's a possibility that Y's mother is among them. Y's hiding up in that tree. He tries to call out Y, but Y shakes her head. Trevor thinks to himself, Y has noticed them too. She's already looking for her mother. Y spots Celosia just as Grace comes over and grabs the chunk of hair tries to pry the chunk of hair from Celosia's grasp, calling out why. Celosia grows angry, saying, what is wrong with her? The effects of Aegislash's mind control isn't as strong on her as the others, is it? Let go! And she shoves Grace to the ground. Y sees her mom and immediately leaps in, shocking Tierno as Shauna calls out to Y, and Trevor says, no. Y, you didn't remember that your wingsuit is damaged, right? Does that actually matter? But Celosia, seeing this, says, I knew we'd find someone snooping around here. And yeah, sure enough, because Y can't really stay aloft with her damaged wingsuit, she falls to the ground hard. Celosia immediately unsheathes Honedge and goes right for the kill on Y. But, okay, she's protected by, I believe that's Chespin's shell? I think that's Chespin. I think. X has immediately rushed in, calling out to his Pokemon, Chespin and Charmander, saying, Marisol, Salome, take care of Y. He brings out his other Pokemon, Manectric and Kangaskhan, saying, Alec, you fight Aegislash. Kanga, you get rid of Honedge. And he immediately Mega Evolves them, saying, change. Oh, yeah, you can only Mega Evolve one at a time, buddy. And Manectric and Kangaskhan are kind of questioning, hey, nothing happened. Yeah, didn't quite think this one through. A few issues with your plan here. Trevor's narration notes, our plan has come to a standstill. Y is jumping out. X's Mega Evolution is failing. And Shauna and Tierno and I have revealed ourselves to the enemy. This is a total, but suddenly, the vines of Xerneas? No, I don't think it's Xerneas. Vines suddenly come bursting out of the ground, wrapping around our heroes, binding them down. Okay. And I didn't know this before, I do like Trevenant. It's kind of low on my list of Pokemon I actually like in terms of the Galos region. But I don't know, I think it's kind of cool. As X notes, the tree. No, it's Trevor saying this. The tree. The forest is attacking. But X sees it. Trevenant at the command of Essentia. X says Trevenant used its roots to order the trees in the forest to attack us. Celosia says, thanks, Essentia. Essentia gives a nod. Y says, oh no, Celosia says, the children from Vanderbilt town. I never dreamed it was you. Pity. I imagine you were hoping to stop us. But it's over now, as we see the people of Vanderbilt town have placed the Xerneas tree up on a massive cart with massive chains to bind it down. Celosia then says, we finished uprooting the tree. Time to transport it, Aegislash. Oh, hold on. Let's get rid of these brats first. Eradicating potential sources of trouble in advance is a key to avoiding future failure. She sends in Aegislash to go on the attack, and as it heads blade first for X, a shadow suddenly comes up out of the ground, deflecting the attack. And, okay, what? The Gengar just shows up? What? Okay. Ella, one of my favorite Pokemon, Gengar, is here. I'm so curious what the explanation about this is. As X thinks to himself, my shadow protected me? And so, I don't understand why it's protecting him. As Gengar rises out of X's shadow at the ready, Y says, Gengar? Celosia looks around saying, who's there? As suddenly, Mega Lucario comes out of nowhere, striking out at Aegislash, but it deflects with its shield. Oh, getting some real cool Pokemon. Well, a lot of the Pokemon I like in this chapter. A voice calls from behind, I'm glad we made it. Celosia turns, saying, you. As we see Diantha, Karina, and a very weak Gherkin being helped along by his Heracross. Celosia says, the successors to Mega Evolution. Whoever calls out, Karina! It's Karina, the gym leader of Shallower City. Y then says, and that's the actress we met at the cafe at Lumio City, Diantha, as Mega Lucario and Nope. Gardevoir hasn't Mega Evolved. Mega Lucario goes after Aegislash while Gardevoir battles against Trevenant. And watching from atop the Xerneas tree is Malva, saying, "It has begun." She says to her, "No, it's not that yet." Brixian, "So, looks like the gang's all here." Okay. Malva's just out there enjoying the show. Current location, Route 8, Morale Coast. This is a road of great contrast from the harsh rocks of the cliff to the soft sands of the beach. Okay. We ain't really seeing that cliffs or beach. It's all forest right now, baby. Alright, next up is adventure number 27. Changing Gengar. Okay. So, is the Gengar like one of the others Pokemon? Like Gherkin or... I would think maybe Gherkin... I don't think Diantha has a Gengar. So curious. We see Gengar trying to help out, get everybody unbound from the tree. Malva watching as... Diantha's Gardevoir has Mega Evolved. Mega Gardevoir goes up against Trevenant, while Mega Lucario goes up against Aegislash. All the while Celosia watching on. Malva says, "This is successors to Mega Evolution. So, looks like the gang's all here. The champion Diantha, Karina, gym leader of Shallow City, and Gherkin." That's Guru Gherkin to you. Strange. Why isn't Gherkin participating in the battle? A voice thing comes over a comm saying, "Probably because of the injury I inflicted on him during the attack on the Tower of Mastery." Malva says, "Is that you, Essentia?" Essentia says, "We needed to stop him and he got injured in the process. But that might not be the only reason he's not fighting." Malva says, "Come to think of it, Chalmers told me they used a group of Sprout to poison him. The poison must have gradually gotten to his legs. But Gengar has managed to free X." Okay, so the Gengar is Gherkin's, right? Interesting. X turns to Gherkin saying, "Hey, you're..." Gherkin smiles saying, "You remember me, junior champion. But that's understandable, given how handsome I used to be." I love this old man. Karina calls out, "Grandpa, this is no time for chit-chat." Gherkin says, yes, scary. "So, junior champion, I'd like to present you with a gift. And that would be the Pokemon who saved you just now. Gengar." Oh, okay, he's handing over the Gengar. That's interesting. "It's my Pokemon, but it has a rather troublesome personality. Basically, it won't listen to my orders." Which is odd that it actually helped out. I love the way Gengar's just lying down, scratching itself, but still at the same time sneering over at Gherkin, like, "I help when I want to, old man." Gherkin says, "It's a show-off, always trying to impress everyone. It only obeys orders when it can take center stage." Ah, that's why it helped. "But I guarantee it's a powerful Pokemon. What do you say? Will you accept it?" X doesn't respond while Karina comes in shouting, "You don't have time to think about it. Your Pokemon and your friends have all been captured. If you want to save them, you've got no choice but to take Gengar." Trevor shouts, "She's right, X. Besides, Gengar can Mega Evolve too. I saw its name on the Megastone list we got from Team Flare." Gherkin comes over to Gengar saying, "Oh, you know about that. Well, you're absolutely right. And obviously I've handed over the Megastone Gengar to Gengar. The only problem is whether you'll be able to bond with it." X takes a moment, walks over to Gengar, and then whispers in its ear, "Interesting." And Gengar's grin widens as X commands it to use Shadow Punch, and Gengar does just that, attacking Trevenant. What did he say to it? Even Gherkin's kind of shocked. Gherkin questions, "How do you get it to listen to you?" X says, "I told it, I bet everyone will be really impressed if you defeat the Trevenant that's giving all these people and Pokemon such a hard time there. But if you don't hurry, Gardevoir and Lucario might steal the applause from you. So, how about it?" Appealing to its ego. Oh, I kind of like that. I kind of like the idea of Gengar having an ego, because most Gengars that we've come across do tend to have a little bit of an ego, or at least the Gengars that I've come across in the anime and all that. They love to have fun, they love to mess around, they love to get into trouble. Like, Gengars are showboaters in most situations. How many Gengars have we come across in the series? There's Agatha's Gengar. That's about all I can really think of. Yeah, the Gengars we've seen before haven't really had much of a personality, from what I can think of. Well, Kirkus says, well done, junior champion. Excellent says, but I couldn't use Mega Evolution. Neither Kangor or Elect transformed. Kirkus says, that's not your fault. I'm to blame. I didn't explain all the details to you when I gave you that ring. I mean, how would he really know that this kid would end up in a life or death situation? In my defense, I wasn't sure I'd done the right thing in trusting it to you back then. Do you remember the first time you put on the ring? X says, yes, clearly. How can I put it? It felt like my strength and my emotions were all getting concentrated into the ring, or the keystone embedded in the center of the ring to be exact. It was like I had another brain or heart on my left arm. Gherkin says, your senses were correct. However, not everybody has that experience. I'm truly glad now that I chose to hand the Mega Ring over to you. X says, but Gherkin tells him, let me explain why you failed just now. You can only Mega Evolve one Pokemon at a time. Trevor says, what? Gherkin explains, saying, you have a Kangaskhan, a Manectric, and let's say you manage to create a bond with Gengar as well. You still can only Mega Evolve one of these Pokemon during battle. Trevor notes, X tried to Mega Evolve Kanga and Elect at the same time just now. That's why he failed. Meanwhile, Malva, still watching, notes, this would be exactly 3-on-3 if I jumped in. The time has finally come for me to crush that hoity-toity actress, she says, looking at Diantha. She says, let's go. Brixen. Oh, and sure enough, Malva arrives right at the side of Celosia and Essentia. Celosia says, Lady Malva. Malva says, Celosia, you take care of transporting the tree and getting rid of the gym leader. Essentia, you get rid of that pesky Gengar. Essentia says, Roger. Malva then says, and I myself will take care of Diantha and Gardevoir. Ugh, looking for any opportunity to upstage the actress. And with no real look of surprise, Diantha says, Malva. He's kind of like, yeah, so you finally decided to show your hand, have you? Malva simply smiles, then orders Brixen to use Magic Room, which we've seen this used a few times before, right? As the Magic Room forms around Diantha and her Mega Gardevoir, Malva simply laughs. The Magic Room has sealed off Diantha and Malva from everyone else, as Mega Lucaria beats at the outside, with Karina calling out to Diantha. Gherkin calls out to her, saying, Hey Karina, stay focused on your opponent. The tree and all the townspeople have left. Karina says, shoot, let's go after them, Lucario. Meanwhile, Gengar is still going at it with Trevenant, but Trevenant's dodging. This is a one slippery tree. Trevor notes, Gengar's Shadow Punch is beginning to miss its target. Gherkin says, Trevenant is starting to read its moves. This is bad. Gengar seems to be undeterred, though. Oh, no. Oh, did he get bored? He turns away and then kind of lays down. X questions Gengar, and Gherkin says, it quickly loses interest if it can't show off. Shauna notes, what a pain. Voltrino says, looks like not even X could make good use of that attention-craving Pokemon. While Trevenant comes in and swats at Gengar. Gengar gets pissed off at X. As Trevor notes, it's because X isn't giving it good orders. X then says, Gengar. No, I mean Garma. Garma, which seems to take Gengar off guard. Gherkin says, is that what you're going to nickname it? X says, yes, Garma. I bet you can use Confuse Ray, right? Gengar shows off, and X says, great, that's perfect. Thanks a lot for helping me just now. That was amazing. Could you show me how you do that again? Once again, appeal to Gengar's ego. And Gengar, hey, what is he doing? Gengar uses Confuse Ray on X, and the light of the Confuse Ray begins to kind of blind Ascension Trevenant, or at least cut off her field of vision. And as Ascension says, huh? X turns, and Ascension notes Gengar disappeared. Ascension then thinks back to what just happened and X's words. Thanks a lot for helping me just now. That was amazing. Can you show me how you do that again? She thinks that she tells Trevenant, which shadow is it hiding in? Because she thinks that it'll attack. She commands, Trevenant, attack the shadows, and Trevenant does just that. Oh, as X mega evolves Gengar into Mega Gengar as it comes out of the shadow of Trevenant. Ascension Trevenant turned as she says, huh? It was hiding in our shadow? X commands Mega Gengar to use Shadow Punch, and it just lays into Trevenant, downing it right then and there, causing the vines the vines and roots and branches it was commanding to release all of X's other friends. Trevor notes, it's form. He managed to Mega Evolve it. X then says, looking to his friends as Y says, as they all start to heap a whole bunch of tension onto Gengar as it forms back. Why saying, that was amazing, Garma. Tierno and Trevor saying, cool. While Shauna turns away saying, what a pain. Meanwhile, Karina is skating through the forest, which cannot be easy. Shoot, get your skates caught on pretty much anything and you're going to take a header into the ground. But Karina notices the shine from back where she was previously at, saying, that was the light of Mega Evolution. Pajama Boy, X succeeded. Impressive. Back then, when she remembers saying, I won't teach you, she says, I didn't accept him because he hadn't gone through all the proper rituals. But it's just as Grandpa said when we abandoned the Tower of Mastery to make our escape. She remembers Gherkin's words saying, what is the most important thing for Mega Evolution? A large flashy structure like this? No. Mega Evolution can be accomplished without the Tower of Mastery. Karina tells Lucario, the important thing isn't the equipment or the ritual. It's whether you can truly create a bond with your Pokemon from the depths of your heart. She then spots the Xerneas tree being moved. She shouts from a cliffside, I've caught up with them. Let's jump onto the tree. 1, 2, 3. And both she and Lucario jump down. She lands on the top of the Xerneas tree, but the sound of it gets Celogia's attention. He turns saying, Karina? Karina says, Celogia of Team Flare, was it? Give up. Celogia says, you're not getting that tree. Aegislash? Aegislash goes for Karina, but Lucario manages to shortstop, grab the blade. Karina calls out, I'm not telling you just to give up the tree. I'm telling you to let go of all the people you've mind-controlled as well. I'm going to get them back for those 4 kids. You stole their hometown, their life, their dreams, their family, the very dignity of their community. Dang, Karina going in hard. Prepare yourselves, Team Flare. Prepare for trouble, and make it double. Come on, let's give it all we've got. As she commands Lucario to Mega Evolve as it tosses back Aegislash. Dang, getting intense. Karina ain't playing around with this one. Okay, I'm not reading that again because we're still in the same location. We've been fighting in this location for 11 years. Alright, adventure number 28, surrounding Brixen. Said Brixen and cut over to Lucario. As Karina Mega Evolves Lucario, she says, come on, let's give it all we've got. Lucario, bullet punch. And Lucario goes in on Aegislash and just starts laying into it. Celogia notes, that's the move you used back in Santa Luna City, but it's a lot quicker than it was back then. Karina says, I trained Lucario's speed on the way when I was escaping from you, and this time I won't let you get away from me. Celogia then says, even though I'm your enemy, I respect your effort to avoid repeating the same mistake. Karina then calls out, there's nothing nice about hearing you praise me. Lucario, keep punching. And Lucario does just that, laying into Aegislash. Meanwhile, the kids have surrounded Essentia. As Gherkin says, you win. You just met each other, but you've managed to get Gengar to behave perfectly, X. X then turns saying, does Mega Evolution change a Pokemon's ability by any chance? Gherkin says, heh, you noticed. Trevenant knew that Garma was going to attack from its shadow, but it was unable to flee from the battle. I assume that was because Garma's ability is Shadow Tag. Gherkin says, exactly. When Gengar Mega Evolves, his ability changes from Levitate to Shadow Tag. Netrix's ability changes from Lightning Rod to Intimidate, and Kangaskhan's ability changes from Scrappy to Parental Bond. Some Pokemon change their type after they Mega Evolve, and some Pokemon change both their type and ability. Not to mention Pokemon's whose type and ability don't change at all. Trevor says, wow. Meanwhile, Y is calling out, Mom, Mom, to the downed Grace, which, she'll be okay, right? Is she knocked unconscious? As everyone watches on, turns, anger in his eyes, saying, you can't escape us now, Team Flare. But Essentia doesn't respond. Shauna calls out, you're hiding your face under that mask. Who are you? Show us your face. As X's Pokemon go to attack, suddenly Essentia turns into X? I didn't know she had this ability. What? Oh, right. No, I did know that. Because in the games, she would change into random people to attack the player, right? Oh, I didn't even realize it just worked like this. Shauna says, what? She transformed into X as Essentia, Xentia, just elbows the little Kangaskhan in the face, my god. And then rushes past Kangaskhan. Puts on his rollerblades and pursues Xentia, only to grab himself? Oh, this will get freaky. Shauna says, and now she's changed into Tierney. Which one is the real Tierney? As the two grapple. It's the one who's losing who's the real one, let's be honest. Oh, only for Klefki, who's pissed off. Hey, was Klefki? Yeah, Klefki was there. Hey, does Grace now have the Klefki? I don't know. Might just be a friend. But Klefki goes and just, boom, knocks the fake Tierno in the face, causing the holographic disguise to start to fade away, much to the shock of everyone else. As it cycles between Karina, Gherkin, Diantha, Cassius, Shauna, Trevor, Zorosic is monitoring this, saying, this is not good. Essentia is using the suit's sneaking function. Stop, Essentia. You mustn't. We haven't tested that yet. You're becoming unstable. As it's getting close to the time limit on the expansion chute, you have to return immediately. As Essentia's suit continues to malfunction, she says, yes, sir. Zorosic, sir. She recalls Trevenant and dashes into the brush. Tierno and Shauna try to pursue. Tierno saying, we have to go after it. But Y blocks it off, saying, no. Calm down, you guys. X just fought the enemy to free us. Isn't there something we have to do before going after the enemy? Karina and Diantha are still fighting, remember? We have to support them. Trevor then says, let's help your mother first, Y. Y says, thanks, Trevor, but we can go to her after we free the others from Aegislash's mind control. Is she being pragmatic, or does she want a bit of the revenge? It's hard to say. Trevor doesn't know what to say, but X puts a hand on Trevor's shoulder, saying, Y, I'll go help Karina. You help Diantha. Tierno, Trevor, come with me. I need you to take care of the townspeople while I'm fighting. Trevor says, okay. Tierno says, gotcha. Shauna waves to them, saying, hang in there, boys. She then turns to Gherkin, saying, hey, Mega Evolution Man. Gherkin says, my name is Gherkin, but you can call me Gherky if you like, Shawnee. Ew, gross. Shauna says, how can we break this? She said the move was called Magic Room. Gherkin says, like, kid, your guess is as good as mine. Shauna admonishes him, saying, you're no help at all, Gherky. Well, she adapted that real fast. Y says, what's happening inside there? Inside the magic room, Malva is facing off against Diantha. Diantha tells Malva, I have access to all sorts of information because I visit the TV station a lot. There's news designed to influence people in a certain direction, as well as news that pretends as if nothing has happened. A lot of false information has been disseminated lately, especially since the Vanderbilt town incident. Someone is controlling the media. That's what I've been investigating, but I haven't been able to figure out who was behind it. Now I know it was. Malva says, me? Diantha tells her, yes, I'm sure of it now. Malva, you wear many hats. You're a TV reporter and a member of the Pokemon League Elite Four. But that's not all. You're also a member of Team Flare. But a reporter can't control the news all by herself. I know someone is backing you. Also, you've been given orders to an executive member of Team Flare called Celosia. So I'm thinking you can't just be just any ordinary member. Could it be that you are the leader of Team Flare? Malva laughs. Me, the boss? Nah. She then commands Brixen to use Flame Charge. Brixen goes in after Mega Gardevoir, but Mega Gardevoir manages to dodge her attacks. Celosia says Magic Room erases the effects of the item a Pokemon is holding, but it doesn't look like it's erasing the effects of Gardevoir's Mega Stone. That must mean Mega Evolution isn't influenced by a Pokemon move. Diantha says, you use Magic Room just to find that out? Malva says, of course. I could make a serious mistake at a critical moment if I don't gather the right data first. My plan to nullify the effects of the Mega Stone failed, but at least I've created the perfect place to torment you one-on-one. Diantha questions, torment? Malva then says, beauty, talent, praise, love. You'll never understand it because you've had it all ever since you were a child. Malva, what happened to you? Like, that is a very telling statement right there. What happened to you, Malva? Sit on the nice big couch and let's talk about it. But she commands Brixen to use Fire Spin, surrounding Diantha in flames. Diantha questions, do you really think you could defeat me with a tiny conflagration like this? Conflagration? Oh my god, huh. I've only ever heard that word in very select places. I always say it like conflagration, but it's conflagration, I think. Malva says, I don't need to defeat you. All I need to do is keep you busy here until Xerneas reaches our base. And then I win. Very pragmatic. I gotta tell you, some of the angles the mangaka give to Malva and her tight pants, I don't know, it's one too many lines away from showing me something that isn't for a kid's book. Outside it begins to rain. Shauna calls out for Diantha, while Y says, Shauna, let's try attacking it. Sylvanion, Fletchinder, Frogadier, and Skitty all attack the outside of the magic room. While Shauna says, hey, why? I says, what? Shauna says, has this thing gotten smaller or what? Oh. I says, come to think of it. Kirka says, Shawnee, why? Kirka, no, you're wrong. It's not getting smaller. It's shrinking. Uh-oh. Oh. And as they watch helplessly, the magic room slowly disappears into the ground. Wait, what does that mean? Back over with Karina. Lucaria is still fighting Aegislash. Celosia says, why are you interfering with Team Flare's plans? Why? Karina says, isn't it obvious? How can I ignore an organization that's trying to take control of the Kalos region using a legendary Pokemon in Mega Evolution? Celosia questions, control? Karina questions, what's so funny? Celosia says, we already have control of the Kalos region. Karina says, what? Celosia explains, our boss predicted that the world is soon going to reach the point of no return, but since saving the entire population is impossible, he's decided that only certain chosen ones will get a ticket to tomorrow. Oh my god, so Sword and Shield isn't the first place where that came up? What is with these people thinking the world is imminently going to die? Where is this coming from? But that prediction in Sword and Shield was so far off, it's like, are you even worrying about that now? You'll be dead by then. But I guess maybe Lysander is trying to save specific bloodlines and stuff like that, which is very elitist. Jeez. Lysander walks into a room saying all men are not created equal. Some are always going to be better, greater, stronger, faster than others. See the tirade from the beginning of Code Geass. Celosia says, we already control all the companies and media who agree with our boss. All the elite. Topical. Very topical. The people who assume they are the chosen ones have easily come over to our side. They're happy to follow our boss's orders, and many civilians have accepted our control without having any idea that they're being controlled. Our operation is in its final phase. That's why we're no longer doing things behind your back. That's why they seem so obvious about what they're doing now. They don't care anymore. Even though, after all this time you finally noticed and are making a huge fuss about it, we're still going to succeed in creating a world just for the chosen few. Karina says, that's not funny. Kalos belongs to everybody. Everybody has the right to a ticket to tomorrow. Nice line. Celosia scoffs, saying, do you really believe that? The life of a fugitive in the wild before rejecting our authority, with no time for medical care, or relative freedom and short-term games while being subjugated. Which do you think the people of Kalos will choose? Vanderbilt town was crushed. The townspeople went missing. and the Tower of Mastery collapsed. But most people have pushed their worries and suspicions aside to get on with their everyday lives. They just go with the flow and take the easy way out. Man, this is it does really speak to. It was something I was watching the other day. No, reading. It was Avengers Twilight, where essentially you had much of the same thing. The Red Skull, through manipulation, had made it so that Tony Stark's son had kind of created a bit of a police state, and it created this kind of perfect America where people didn't question anything. The Avengers they had at the time, holograms, completely fake. The other Avengers were treated as criminals, and it was all because as long as you give the people what they want, nobody questions it. If people have food, shelter, safety, or at least the semblance or idea of safety, nobody's going to question anything. It's only when things are taken away that people have dissonance, when they don't have enough food, when you can't pay for shelter, not enough money, not enough resources, just not enough of anything. People start to question things a lot more. It's a really messed up mindset, but I mean, I'd be damned if I said it wasn't a little true in some situation. Celosia says, and do you seriously think it's worth sharing the future with the likes of them? Karina just grows even more angry, shouting, but, Lucario manages to deliver a powerful punch to Aegislash, causing it to knock itself into Celosia. Which, geez, hey, what happened? Celosia notes, Lucario fainted too? Strange. Oh, the hostages who were walking alongside the trailer, they're gone. I see. The only way to repel my Aegislash's mind control is with Lucario's aura. The reason you only attacked with Bullet Punch and refrained from using Lucario's aura was because you were concentrating on blocking our mind control to help the townspeople escape. Karina chuckles. You finally caught on. Celosia says, but why? If you had focused on the battle, you would have been victorious. And Celosia passes out. Karina says, I achieved exactly what I set out to do. My top priority was to free the people of Vanderbilt Town. After that, it was to defeat your Aegislash, defeat you, get the tree back, and rejoin Grandpa. Oh, hast thou not gone against sincerity? Hast thou not felt ashamed of thy words and deeds? Hast thou not lacked vigor? As a successor, I must, but he's too caught up in the moment and doesn't notice Honedge approaching from behind. As she notices all too late, Honedge strikes her, causing her to fall. And as she blacks out, he thinks, she remembers being at the Tower of Mastery, thinking, I love the view from up here, the skies of Kalos. I always feel so serene when I look up at the sky, and it seems as if my Pokemon and I can accomplish anything. We then cut to later. Someone calls out, those are the people of Vanderbilt Town. It's X, Tierno, and Trevor. As they look after the townspeople, Tierno says, have they been freed from the mind control? But Trevor notices something, calling out Karina. He heads over saying, hang in there, Karina. Tina says, what's the matter, Trevs? Trevor says, it's gone. It's not here. Here's Mega Glove. The keystone is missing. Oh, that's such a bummer. She did such a good job, and he was too overconfident. That's the one thing that is kind of a constant with Karina. Sometimes she's just a little too confident for her own good. Alright, and the last chapter of this video is adventure number 29. Quilladin Fan. Quilladin. Huh, okay. Oh, jeez. We pick up at the Laveri General Hospital. Something calling out, over here. How many were there altogether? 14 at Riviera Walk and 1 at Spike's Passage, First Aid Station, Cassius. Trevor says, that sounds right. That's how many Sky Trainers attacked us. Cassie says, nice work, for real. Okay, so it's the one from his group with the pigtails. Guess they were going around picking up the people who were passed out. Cassius says, so we've got 29 patients who were found on Route 8. Trevor says 30, including Y's mother. Cassius says, that makes 45 people in all. God, that's a lot of people. I mean, look, we've experienced a lot of destruction and damage. And it's not like we haven't had a town kidnapped. The people of Pallet Town were kidnapped at one point. But, I mean, just seeing like a hospital full of like a good chunk of a town is still like really alarming. Cassie says that makes 45 people in all. The exact number of townsfolk who went missing from Vanderbilt Town. That's all of them accounted for. Unfortunately, they haven't regained consciousness yet. He says, looking over Karina. Trevor says, but you've been such a help. We never have found a hospital with room for so many patients. It's so kind of you. Everybody else in this group start laughing amongst themselves, like, kind? Cassius tells him, quit laughing. And he tells Trevor, don't, for real. Do I seriously seem like I care about anyone but myself? They're the ones you should be thanking. Oh, it's the other gym leaders. Okay, so I guess after he fully explained things to Grant, he got in with Olympia and Valerie. I don't know why I couldn't remember that one. Yeah, it's just Valerie. Okay. Yeah, and she got them big old eyes. Stop looking at me with them big old eyes. Valerie seems excited, saying, oh no, you mustn't say that. It's only natural for us gym leaders to be leaders as responsible people to help those in trouble. She says, flapping her arms. Trevor says, gym leaders? Grant says, well, yes. I'm the gym leader of Silage City. Grant. Valerie says, I'm the gym leader here in Lavere City. Valerie, nice to meet you. Well, Olympia says, and I'm the gym leader of Anistar City. Olympia. Grant says, we heard about those red suits, Team Flare. Valerie comes in close to Trevor, saying, it was very clever of you to keep eluding them. While Olympia says, I'm ashamed to say we didn't know anything about Team Flare until now. See, I like that they're at least kind of noting it's just like, nah, as gym leaders, we should have picked up on some of this. And that just shows how deep this really goes. Because usually in most cases, more gym leaders would have been much more involved in this by now. But for the most part, it was just Karina and, I'm forgetting the other girl's name. Viola. There you go, Viola. Just as I was looking it up. Valerie says, however, I had noticed some strange people in red uniforms entering the Pokeball factory in our city. I was just beginning to investigate them. I called my gym leader friends. She then shouts at Trevor, saying, and learned that Viola and Karina had already fought them, and that Viola's sister Alexa had been attacked by them too. Why were they so secretive about all this? They should have told us. She then looks over at Karina, saying, the same goes for Karina. She has no idea how worried we were when we lost contact with her after the Tower of Mastery was destroyed. Trevor says, Viola and Karina probably didn't know whom they could trust. Cassius then adds, that's how deeply entrenched Team Flare is in Kalos. Real. Actually, we might be able to attain treatment for the Vanderbilt trainer town residents in this place, but I still have my doubts as to whether we're safe here. He says, looking over at some doctors and masks. Suddenly, Grant gets a call. He says, Ramos and Wolfric will arrive in about 15 minutes. Let's go pick them up. Valerie says, you still can't get a hold of Clement? Grant says, nope, maybe Tim Flare. Got to him first. They all hop on Grant's Auroras and head off. Well, Grant, Olympia, and Valerie. Also, man, they made Olympia look a lot paler than I'm used to here. Because she has a darker skin tone than most other things. It's not like super, super dark, but she should at least have a little bit more of a darker shade to her skin. Not as dark as Grant, but at least a little bit. As they head off, Grant says, at any rate, we can discuss what to do about Team Flare with the gym leaders who we've been able to contact. Keep an eye on things here, Cassius. Cassius says, sure thing, Grant. Leave it to me. For real. Trevor turns to Cassius, saying, you're friends with him? Cassius says, yeah. I promised to pay for the damages on the rock climbing and cycling courses, so now he likes me. Trevor's a little taken aback by that, but yeah, that explains enough. Oh, but then Valerie suddenly comes back over saying, hey, Trevor, was it? Trevor says, huh? Yes? Valerie says, you saw the great tree that the legendary Pokemon transformed into, right? Trevor says, oh, yeah. Look at Trevor moving that plot along. She says, well, this magnificent tree is the symbol of our town. It's 1,500 years old. Trevor says, Valerie then keeps poking at him, saying, which tree is the best? Trevor questions, the best? Valerie says, you know what I mean. Which tree looks cooler? Only for her to suddenly be picked up, I guess by Olympia's psychic abilities? And she says, we're going, Valerie. Valerie says, Valerie's a little bit more scatterbrained than I thought she was. Oh, it was a Mr. Mime. And what are those other Pokemon? Meowstic. Oh, okay. Valerie says, I bet our tree is better than the other one. Don't you agree, Olympia? Olympia says, sure. She's she's a lot more flighty than I expected her to be. I don't know if this is just for the manga. That's how she just in general is. Cassius then says, by the way, where do your friends go? Trevor points down a nearby hill, saying, Valentino and Shauna are over there. Higgin is giving them Pokemon battle training. Ah, okay. Yeah, they need to get a little bit more trained up for everything that's about to happen ahead. Cassius then says, where's your Mega Evolution leader? I see it's Chespin and Charmander. Trevor takes a moment and says X's. He points to the sheet on the back of the Rhyhorn. But as Cassius lifts up the blanket, he says, huh? He isn't here. Trevor says, oh, no, over there. He points to the inside of a tree where, what the heck? What are you doing in there, man? What? Cassie says, what the? For real? Look at all that duct tape. That furry sod girl is gonna flip when she sees the furry sod. Oh, swinging sleeves of a kimono. Oh, okay. I'm like, what the frick does that mean? He tries to call out, hey, what's going on? But Trevor says, hold on a minute. I'll talk to him. Trevor calls out, X? It's me, Trevor. Could you come a little closer, please? X takes a moment and then says, is that really you, Trevor? If you're the real Trevor, tell me something only you and I know. Dang, okay. He's gotten that suspicious. Jeez. Good thing Trevor was there to meet with the other gym leaders, because I gotta tell you, this is the one protagonist who has probably the least amount of interaction with gym leaders so far. Just but at least it's for a plot purpose. It's not really coming from him being a jerk. It's just coming from, like, after everything he's seen, why would he trust a lot of people? Trevor takes a moment saying, hey, is that Klefki? That's the Klefki that was with Wyatt's mother. Oh, I know. Speaking of Klefki, my grandfather had a strange Klefki once. At first, it just collected all the keys in the house, but then it took an interest in screws and nails and tools. And it got so weighed down it was always dragging itself over the ground. X says, I remember Trevor telling me about that. Trevor says, X questions, so what do you want? Trevor says, well, I thought I'd fill you in on the situation, on what's going on. I don't know why I read it like that. All 15 of the Sky Trainers have been safely hospitalized, and the gym leaders are here to discuss the Team Flare problem. But since none of the townspeople have regained consciousness yet, we still don't know where Team Flare's hideout is. Unfortunately, the tire tracks from the carrier that transported the great tree here got washed away by the rain, of course. We've lost all our leads to Team Flare's headquarters. Also, Diantha's friggin' missing! But at least we managed to free the captured residents of Vanderbilt town, so our battle wasn't a total loss. But X tells him, you really believe that? Diantha disappeared, Karina's keystone got stolen. We weren't able to retrieve the tree or capture those 3 Team Flare members. They lost so many things. It was Karina who sacrificed herself to protect the people of Vanderbilt town, and I didn't do a thing. I was stuck up enough to believe Mega Evolution could fix everything, but in the end I just stood there. And you didn't really stand there. Like, you only got there late to the party, man. Like, now's not really the time for sulking. Trevor says, but Cassius puts his arm around Trevor, saying, let's go. As they make their way away, he says, how long has he been like this? Trevor says, ever since we heard about Karina's condition at the hospital. We have a flashback where they're explaining things. Trevor says Karina's injuries aren't that serious, but the doctor said she might be psychologically traumatized. The moment X heard that, oh God, X just vomits right there on the spot. Jesus. Come to think of it, the first time X wore the Mega Ring, he said, it was like I had another brain or heart on my left arm. He can't really explain the psychic connection between the trainer and the keystone, but Cassie says, I see. Oh God, so having the keystone removed did damage to Karina? Dude. Cassie says he must be concerned about the same thing could happen to him. That's not all. Boy locked himself up in his room all these years because he was afraid of disappointing his Pokemon, right? Now he thinks he's disappointing people. Do you notice the ring on his arm? Trevor sees that, well, once again, X has duct taped up the Mega Ring as he says, not again, X. And suddenly he hears the sound of stomping as we see Emma arriving with Chespin and Charmander running away. Or running towards him? Oh, wait, what the heck? Cassius says, Emma, you're back. You need to tell us where you're going so we don't worry, for real. But then she points towards the two Pokemon. Cassius says, huh? As suddenly Chessman evolves into Quilladin. Oh, that's a Quilladin. Okay. And Charmander evolves into Charmeleon. Cassius says, two of them at the same time, eh? Must be thanks to all that training. That's really the downside, because his Pokemon keep improving, but X is always kind of just off to the side when it happens. Her says, X, did you see that? Marisol and Salome just evolved at the same time. But X doesn't respond. Cassius tells him, I'm sure X will come out when he's ready. Hey, ooh, the melancholy in this story arc is heavy, man. We cut over to the Xerneas tree hooked up to the ultimate weapon. Oh, hey, we have Lysander's Gyarados. As Lysander says, everything is set. Jurassic says, it sure is. Not only do we have the tree, we have the keystone as well. Celostia has done a fine job. We had the stone set into a ring upon Lady Malva's request. Lysander puts it on. As Jurassic says, it looks lovely on your hand. I'm sure Lady Malva would have said it was her role to bestow the ring upon you, but we'll just have to make do. Now put these on, and finally the goggle. Lysander ends up decked out in several forms of equipment, and he shouts, the time has come for us to reclaim the magnificence of Kalos of the past. Jurassic wipes a tear from his eye, saying, this is so thrilling, Master Lysander. He then tells two grunts, pointing to Clement, we don't need him any longer. Toss him into the incinerator. Oh my god! And they do just that, with an unconscious Clement in the incinerator. My god, you guys are brutal. Cut back over to X, who sealed himself inside the tree. He thinks to himself, what am I doing? He remembers wise words from before saying, I'm totally opposed to this plan. Don't you care about helping those mind-controlled people right in front of you? With all your talk about an attack, have you ever considered the odds against you? X thinks to himself, I was right. I was overconfident. It was all because of Karina. He thinks of Karina charging off, seeing her injured in the rain, now laid up in the hospital. Oh god. He then vomits again. My god. He thinks to himself, if I had only agreed to help the residents of Veneville town first, like OI told me to, Karina would never have lost her keystone. Anyone who took Karina's keystone from her. But then a voice calls out to him, then give it back. X takes a moment and then looks up, saying, what? The tree? You're talking to me? You can't be. And the tree? What the hell? Okay, I'm very confused by this. He tells him, 2,000 years ago, I instilled power into a seed in this land. That seed sprouted 500 years later and continued to grow for 1,500 years. It takes time to grow sometimes, a considerably long time. Child, you too are growing. Have the courage to move on when you are hurt. Resist the impulse to shut yourself away from the world. Open your eyes and take a step forward. Connect with others. Oh, it's Xerneas. Oh, well damn. Suddenly, X is taken out of this vision by Klefki patting him on the back. X turns saying, thank you, Klefki. I'm better now. Huh? Oh, what? Oh, Clement's glasses. And an image is in them. X says, what? Is this rocks? Rocks. Rocks lined up in order. And then X realizes, these are Clement's glasses. He remembers Clement telling him, anything caught on camera will appear on the screen on my glasses. X thinks to himself, Klefki was with Grace when she got captured by Team Flare. And Klefki has Clement's glasses, which means this location must be. X comes racing out, goes back under the blanket on top of Rhyhorn, saying, I've got it. It's a place with a rock formation like this. As he looks through, he says, Geoseng. Team Flare's headquarters is located in Geoseng Town. As we cut back over to Clement, oh god, in the incinerator, using his backpack to kind of scope out the area. He then says, what's with all the rumbling? Oh, I thought that was the incinerator starting up for a second. But Jurassic is at the control panel saying, start up the absorber. Activate the ultimate weapon. Begin charging. While Lysander says, drain Xerneas of its life force. As we see X racing off. Okay, so we've cut from, well, we were in Lavray City, and unearthly city created by those inspired by a mysterious ancient tree 1,500 years old. I'm headed to Route 12, Forage Road. Frolicking Skiddo can be seen and ridden at the Bas de Mer Ranch, located beside the breezy sea. Huh, okay. Man, things have finally come to a head, but I feel like it was kind of necessary for the kids to kind of lose here, because they were getting a little overconfident with this. It wasn't a bad idea to strike back against Team Flare, but they had no plan. And I've gotten a little too used to the main characters being a lot more capable than this. I'm not saying that X and his friends aren't capable, but they went in with just too much confidence in what they could do. They had no idea what they were truly up against, and they didn't have enough counters for what they were trying to do. Not to mention, X didn't fully understand the full capabilities and limitations of Mega Evolution. So because of that, he was so taken off guard. And then he ends up sulking afterwards, which understandable. He's putting a lot on himself, but that was because everybody else was putting it so much on him. Just saying to Y, oh, she voices her concern, and they're just like, oh no, X has got it. It's like, no, don't do that. We've long since started to see the cracks in what X could really do, and that was really starting to come to the forefront, and it fully came to a head here. Because it's not as though X really lost, it's just that he couldn't do everything. There was no way of keeping up with everything that was going on. Even Diantha was kind of just friggin', what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of taken away. There was a more complicated word I was thinking of, but Diantha is nowhere to be seen all of a sudden, which, there's only a matter of time, I would think. Well, then again, she was doing everything undercover. Not to mention with the fact that of what Malva was doing, I wonder if she even trusts the rest of the Elite Four, but then again, she didn't really trust Malva to a certain degree. It was very obvious. Diantha knew that something was going on. It's just that she had no way of proving any of it. And by the time she could get any proof, it was too little too late. To call out Malva as the leader of Team Flare, they were like, Diantha, I feel like you should have been better than this. But then again, maybe she just doesn't want to believe that Lysander, the, rich, altruistic man, is actually the leader of a criminal organization. But X's battle against Essentia was cool. I wonder what Malva did with Diantha. And it was a good stall tactic, but who knows where they ended up. And it really is such a bummer that Karina pretty much owned that battle. She was really doing it up. But just kind of like X, it was too much. One too many things. She needed someone really watching her back. Like in a situation like this where you never know where Team Flare is going to come out of next. No, don't go by yourself. Even if you have your Pokemon with you, she needed backup. That she really needed backup. And that's kind of frustrating because she still saved the people of the town. She knew she was spreading herself fairly thin and she thought she had it. And she honestly would have. That's the really frustrating part. Karina really had that situation. Dang. But Xerneas talking with X. I wonder what that was about. Was some kind of connection formed between Xerneas and X? Because really, I know nothing about Xerneas. I've never seen it in any movies. I've never seen it in the anime. The manga is the closest thing I've ever had to any interaction with Xerneas that I've, partaken in. So, does maybe Xerneas see something in him? Or is it just because of the tree he's trapped himself in? I'm curious about that, but hopefully he can get to Clemont in time before he becomes a crispy critter. So, let me know your thoughts on these chapters in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching, and until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and hope to see you in the next one. So then, take care. Bye-bye.